area of our business where we impact the local communities pretty heavily is the school systems. So we work for school systems all over the northern part of the state of New Jersey. We operate their water systems, their wastewater systems. We do a lot of their permitting and compliance work, and we ensure that the water that the kids drink is clean. We go out and do the sampling to ensure that it's not contaminated. And we also treat the wastewater that's being generated at a lot of these facilities as well before it gets discharged to the environment. So we are supporting the local community through supporting the boards of education and the local school systems.
For the finest in vinyl siding, rain gutters, overhangs, storm and replacement windows, even patios and decks, trust in the experts at Ultimate Siding and Gutters. In addition to being licensed and insured, our technicians are also friendly and courteous, performing hassle-free service and installation at affordable rates. Plus, we provide free estimates for commercial and residential structures. Our entire staff will exceed your expectations. For the ultimate in siding, gutters, and much more, call Ultimate Siding and Gutters today.
Alrighty, welcome back, everybody. A little late to the show here tonight, but still going to be a great race here from Simtrax Broadcasting. Joining alongside me tonight will be Stella and Jacob Reeves, and we are not just turning left tonight in an oval. We're going to be heading left and right at none other than Sonoma, a very, very tricky track that some drivers just can't seem to get a handle of. And I'll probably say the toughest part of this track that I've noticed that some of these drivers are having the most trouble with is the uphill S's. Jacob, talk to me a little bit about this track, and are these guys in trouble for tonight?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, with the track temp being around 100 degrees, it's going to be really, really tough to see if these guys are going to be able to keep the cars up or up under them. They got to try not to have so much rear wheel spin, and they got to be able to keep those tires not worn out. I mean, their front tires, they're not going to be worn out that bad. Back tires are. But with these 5 gears that these next-gen cars is going to be in, it's going to be a challenge, but the main thing, and I said it last week and I'll say it again this week, the main thing they need to do is to be able to limit the mistakes here. If you can keep the car on the track, then you've got a great shot at getting a good finish and possibly even winning this race.
Oh, yeah, definitely couldn't agree with you more. And Stella, talk to me a little bit about this race tonight and what we've got lined up for these guys.
Well, what we have lined up is a 1.99 mile, 10 turn nightmare. They'll be looking out there doing 55 laps. They'll have a stage at 12 with 5 sets of tires in the pits, and of course with this league, no fast repairs.
Should definitely line us up for a good one. I know some of these drivers, it's going to be a solid race. The key is, like Jacob said, staying out of trouble. You don't want anything to go wrong early in this one. Let's take a look at our top starting spot here. Jeremy Burns and Alice Forget will be starting 1 and 2. I gotta admit, Jeremy Burns has been on fire this season, so he's looking really, really good right now. And starting in the front for Element X Racing is going to be perfect. James Loveland will be sitting third, and last week's winner, Justice Murphy, will be starting in that 4th position. Travis Gilbert, glad to see him back in the number 22. I think he's sporting the Joey Logano scheme, starting in 5th next to Kevin Orlando in the starting machine, who ended up winning the bracket chase. So good job by him, starting 6th. Michael Bennett will be 7th next to Trevor Earhart. He's been found to be one of the favorites to win out here, so let's see how well he can do starting in the 8th position. At least he had a decent qualifying time. Trevor Keith will be 9th next to Grant Thorpe, Parker Johnston, and Nick Alves. That's going to be our guys right now lining up in the top 12 and moving on back to the remainder here of this field. And I got to admit, we've got a lot more drivers here than I would have expected. Taking a look with Robert Rader and Caleb Gilbert, 13 and 14. John Fike and Blake Cook starting in row number 8. Starting row number 9 will be Jacob Sirkovich with Matthew Robinson in the number 1 machine. Christopher Schaefer 19th with Brandon Dunford in 20th. Looks like it's going to be Jeffrey Israel, Tay McDonald, Devin Hudgens, and Dylan Smoot rounding out the last of our field. I don't believe I am right. Yes, Zach Hanna was actually able to take the wheel here tonight. He'll be moving along here in the final position. So I've got 25 drivers here at a road course. So I've got to admit here, Stella, you've been here with me a little bit. These are some record numbers that we notice out here on this track.
Yeah, it's not unusual to see a lot of the drivers shy away when we hit these road courses. Good to see them all out here giving it a shot tonight.
Oh yeah, well, these drivers are going to have plenty of chances. I know 55 laps doesn't sound like a lot, but when how long is this track? Like 2 miles?
Yeah, just a hair under 2 miles. I mean, the fastest race lap was done by William Byron in a Camaro in 1 minute 37 seconds at 93 miles an hour. I think that's one thing these guys are going to have to understand is they're so used to doing 180, 190. This 93, 95 miles an hour is going to feel so slow to them that they're going to be pushing that gas just too much too often.
All right, yeah. Well, taking a look at that, it looks like we're already under green flag. There may have been a little trouble out there on the track already to start. Definitely guys sliding all around, hammering each other to pieces. It looks like a little bit of wheel spin from James Loveland. Might have stacked up the field a little bit, but that's A-okay. Everybody seems to keep this one going on here. And Jacob, you noticing anything out there?
I'm noticing a lot, honestly. Everybody just trying to get the positions that they need to try to get ready for that stage, which we're going to see the stage at lap 12, if I'm not mistaken. And this is going to be a big deal for these guys because there is going to be no stage caution in this race. So that's going to be really, really key for some of these guys to be able to do some crazy strategies. Wow, Robbie Rader just drove it in right there on Michael Bennett in turn 7. Doored the crap out of him. Rader's going to lose a couple spots. He's actually going to turn John Fike straight into the wall. No caution yet. But, oh my goodness, a lot of guys trying to get their handling on this. Stella, you talked about it as well. Everybody trying to get a handle on this Sonoma Raceway right here tonight.
Yeah, not looking too hot there for John Fike as it's going to drop him way off the pace here. That does put Fike all the way to the very last position. I believe that dropped him down about 10 positions now, moving on up. Even more tire smoke. The guys are trying to fly there, figure out a route through. Raiders moved up 5 positions already, sitting 8th. And last week's winner, Justice Murphy, has moved up to 2nd. So far, so good. As Alex Forget has had a couple of really, really crummy turns here, dropping him down a couple positions, still remaining in the top 5. But with Trevor Earhart, oh, there it is. That's the dagger. Alex Forget is into the dirt now. And I don't know if he'll be able to recover. We'll see if he can bounce back after that.
I think tonight we're going to see a lot of people taking their turns in the sandbox.
And not to mention right there, I just saw Caleb Gilbert look like he got a little bit squirrely coming off of turn 11. It looked like he got it straightened out, and then I don't know who it was, but somebody just come flying in there and just T-boned him. So this track is not as wide as we was last week at Worldwide Technology Raceway, or like we're going to go to next week when we go to Charlotte. So, or excuse me, not Charlotte, but Nashville Super Speedway. It's not as wide, so these guys have got little room for error, especially if there's somebody spinning up in front of them. They they can probably cut the grass, but they're going to get a time penalty and they'll have to slow down or they're going to have a black flag. So not a wide racetrack here at Sonoma, but I'm telling you, it's like I said earlier, if they can limit the mistakes, you're going to have a shot to be up front to try to win this race.
And speaking of up front, Jeremy Burns and Justice Murphy out front. These guys are the fastest on the track right now, at least with 117s, just under the 118 mark. And they have really, really been scooting the boot here and starting to get a decent amount of separation from the remainder of the field. They've almost got about a 3-second gap. So it seems this battle is going to be between the two of them here. Now, whether Trevor Earhart is going to be able to catch up, but I do want to give a shout out here, Stella, to Kevin Orlando. Kevin Orlando's got himself up into the 3rd position, no mistakes as of yet, but I gotta admit, during practice, he had a very, very hard time and just couldn't get that car to rotate. It's like the front had a bunch of bricks underneath the hood because it wouldn't turn, but the butt end of the car would slide around.
Well, maybe he changed up his brake bias, got a little weight, more in the rear now, and isn't going for a drifting competition.
Yeah, that's the way it seems to be looking. Everybody's solid here so far. I think Chris Schaefer may have had a problem here toward the back. A couple of guys have already come down pit. Schaefer, a couple of donuts for him way back here in the field.
And just to touch base with Kevin Orlando as well, you talked about it earlier. He's the money man right now out of everybody in this 25-car field. He won the bracket challenge last week, being able to defeat Nick Alves at Worldwide Technology Raceway and got lucky and got that extra money. So, granted, that was last week. He is the money man. Everybody knows that. But coming into this race right here, he knows that, okay, we got the bracket challenge out of the way. Now it's time to get going right here. We got to start making some points. We got to start trying to get every point that we possibly can leading into these playoffs later this year.
Yeah, already plenty of trouble. I've got 3 drivers, one of them working their way out of pit, Caleb Gilbert, after that last spin out and damage. Devin Hudgens and Zach Hanna have spent extended amount of time. Hanna's been in his box for almost 3 minutes, and Devin Hudgens down there about a minute and a half now. Zach Hanna did have a problem on lap 1 and on lap 2, and I think that's been the last time since we saw Zach Hanna. He hadn't completed his 2nd lap before I guess he ended up with a bunch of damage, getting obliterated out there. Parker Johnson and Matthew Robinson having a little trouble between lap 3 and 4, but fastest on the track right now, Travis Gilbert in a few sections and Trevor Keith. Now I gotta admit, Trevor Keith in the 15 Ford here looking pretty hot as of late, really kind of picking up the pace, and I like what I'm seeing here. He's really sat back, let this race come to him, and he's just kind of figuring out, let's get a high spot during the stage. Let's go ahead, stay calm, stay collected, and work his way to the front, because he could use the stage points to help his way work himself farther into the playoff running here before the end of the year.
And you're exactly right on that. I mean, Gilbert needing as many points as he possibly can, like you said, for the playoffs. But some of these guys up here, you were talking about it, with some of these guys that are actually hitting those fast lap times. I talked about this earlier before the race started, that this track temp is right at 100 degrees. I mean, it's right at it. 94 degrees is what I'm showing. And that is actually very warm for a particular road course race, especially when you're on the brakes, you're getting on the gas, you're trying to mash that gas pedal just to try to get it, just go as fast as you possibly can. You got to watch that. These guys are going to do a lot of throttle management for this race, so they're going to have to try to save those rear tires, as I said earlier. But these guys, they seem like they're holding their own, especially with some of these guys up here in the top 7, top 8. With the exception of the 2 front guys just absolutely checking out from the field. But everybody kind of seems like they're just trying to hold their own. And some of these guys might be just trying to just get a quiet day, get a top 10, and then just go on to Nashville.
Yeah, I've got to admit, I would probably be thinking the exact same thing, and just kind of take it easy and not destroy the car. I don't know, how many guys, go home after a race like this and just hang your head. I mean, you come out here, you practice. You've been nailing down some of your fastest times of your career, and then just guys, are getting obliterated, guys getting smashed to pieces. And it's just one of those, let's let's be consistent. You don't have to be the fastest one. Just be consistent, get out there, and have a solid spot. As we're taking a look at Trevor Earhart, who's being so consistent, he's moved himself up about 4 positions here, sitting in that fourth spot with the Black Rifle Coffee Chevrolet. It looks like his return, but he is put the Die Hard scheme back away here, and we'll see if he can win this one here tonight, because I know the All About Bugs Chevrolet, the number 12 of Justice Murphy, who's sitting second. Pretty good right now. He is hanging off Jeremy Burns by about 0.3 of a second here, but that's okay. That's a comfortable distance. I'm wondering if Justice Murphy is laying back a little bit, try to see if he can hold out those tires and keep on going here later on in this run.
It's possible. I mean, what he's probably doing right now is trying to worry Jeremy Burns to death, because I mean, he's right there. I mean, obviously he can see Jeremy Burns at his windshield, and obviously Jeremy Burns can see Justice Murphy at his rearview mirror. And with a road course like this, I mean, if it was just a straight oval, like where we was last week or where we're going to go next week, or most of the time when we're on these, as you see it, wow, Murphy actually sent it right there, gets into Jeremy Burns a little bit, may actually go side by side right here at the start-finish line. This might get really crazy going up at the top of the hill. Burns might have actually been hearing a couple footsteps back there in the back, but the battle for the lead is heating up right now, Patrick.
And it is Justice Murphy now starting to put the push, as we're about 4 laps before stage break. Number 12 Chevrolet, Justice Murphy putting the pressure on Jeremy Burns. Burns trying to see if he can get away here. Gets a good little move there as Justice Murphy slides the rear end coming out of that last turn, which cost him dearly, as he's now dropped off to about over half a second now, and now he's going to be playing catch up. You know, he had a solid move there, but he might have to reconsider what happens this next time. Now, Stella, we saw what happened at, I believe it was the Circuit of the Americas, where Parker Johnson did not take tires, and Justice Murphy, who led the whole race, ended up losing that race. You know, is there a good chance that we might see Justice Murphy not take tires during the stage break here?
Well, what he realized was that he didn't need the tires, and he just failed to unclick them. And yes, that did cost him the race. Also, I want to make sure that the viewers know that Nashville is not next week. Next week is an off week. We'll be back at Nashville Superspeedway on the 28th of June. They will
okay.
have time to lick their wounds.
Yeah, well,
Appreciate
after
the
one
correction.
like this, their arms are going to be fried.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, looking pretty tough. I do want to note out there, Jeremy Burns and Justice Murphy have a 9-second gap on the rest of the field here. I mean, this is insane. The amount of distance these two guys are getting off the rest of the field. I would say it almost looks like Justice Murphy has met his match here. Let's see if we can get a quick look at the track and see the separation these guys have gotten. So I believe that is them on the bottom of the track here that we've got pulled up, and you see the separation that they are starting to get. 27, the number 27 you see up there is Kevin Orlando, is that the next car in line to catch up. But really, once again, I do want to mention, hats off to Kevin Orlando for hanging up here in the top 5. And right now he's lined himself up for a podium position, but the remainder of this field being so spread out is so interesting. I like seeing some of the times that I'm noticing here. With Jeremy Burns, you know, during section 3, he just laid down the fastest time on the track. But Justice Murphy just laid the fastest time during section 4. And actually, Alex Forget between section 1 and 2, who's now rolling back here in the 12th position, is fastest between section 1 and 2. So that's going to consist of about 5 corners here. So he is the fastest on the track for at least half the track. You know, and these other guys are getting some solid times. I'm just wondering if we're going to see, you know, Alex Forget be able to boomerang back here, because I guarantee you, whatever he did is not going to be what he's going to remain doing for the remainder of this race after the stage.
Yeah, I mean, you're right on that, but I mean, we've got a long race left right here. I mean, 55 laps in this race. We're only on lap 10, so he's got 45 laps to try to do something try to do some kind of crazy strategy to be able to try to get himself back up there. I mean, he was up there earlier and had that unfortunate, I believe he just missed the brakes, and that's what caused that. But I mean, it's gonna be really tough to come back. I mean, you basically talked about it. Jeremy Burns, Justice Murphy, 10 seconds now over Kevin Orlando and Trevor Earhart, which both of those are battling for third and fourth right now, respectively. Yeah, it's gonna be tough for Alex to be able to try to get back up here and get back in it. I think he'll be able to maybe squeak out a top 10, but top 5 and the lead, everybody's got to start having some problems for him to have a shot at this.
Well, we have a little note out there, little inside info on Mr. Trevor Earhart. He's back in the gym, and today was, or excuse me, yesterday was arm day, and so today his arms are killing him. This is not the best track for him to be doing tonight.
Well, that is not good for the number 21, but fortunately, you know, maybe something like that might help him overcome the force feedback that he'll get from the wheel. If he's sore, we're going to know about it. He's got to be, that's probably not a good thing. I would probably say arms or legs. It's probably going to be pretty tough to wheel around one of these next-gen cars, especially at this track. It's going to be very, very difficult here for him to continue on, but Stella, we are looking at pretty close to the next stage, for the first and only stage break here tonight. So talk to me about, you know, is Justice Murphy going to overtake Jeremy Burns here right before the end?
Well, that would be great for his point standings. My curiosity here is, I've seen stage breaks, and but I've never seen stage break with no caution. I thought the stage break was to bunch everybody back up.
Well, I mean, they basically did this right here for the strategy play of the racing, Stella. But in my personal opinion, and I've said this before, I think that they need to just throw the stage cautions out and just let them just keep racing, because what you're doing, if you're having that stage caution, granted, it's jumbling everybody back up and it makes that excitement that everybody loves. But, you know, that messes up people's strategies of some of them that can try to save tires and be able to try to go a little bit longer on fuel or on tires or whatever. But I mean, yeah, I mean, this is basically like an old school race right here, Patrick.
Yeah, that it is, and they continue on. Looks like as lap 12 complete. And we're talking there's going to be no stage caution here. What they're going to do is press on. Top 10 drivers will go ahead and get the points and stay out there. But it's interesting to see here, you know, seeing how these guys are going to overcome and the pit strategy that everybody's going to have to take here later on in the race. I just don't know how that's going to fare for some of our drivers out there as we're watching the Mountain Man leading just about every lap of this race here, getting out front. This is doing a really fantastic job here as he's running in some black traffic. I believe that is the 84 of Devin Hudgens, I believe. As he heads down another lap, Christopher Schaefer's in pit. He's down there for the last 3 minutes. Brandon Dunford, I believe Mayhem Motorsports, his Toyota's down there. So the only Toyota left out on the track is Alice Forget, and that's going to be a toughie for him. Let's give a little shout out here for Jeremy Burns, Justice Murphy, Trevor Earhart, Kevin Orlando, and James Loveland rounding out our top 5, followed by Travis Gilbert, looks like Michael Bennett, Robert Rader, Trevor Keith, and now Grant Thorpe. Now, we haven't said a word about Grant Thorpe out there in the number 77 Chevrolet. He's been kind of rocking on through here. I would say he's sitting exactly where he started this race. You know, is that a good or a bad thing here?
I think it's a great thing. I mean, we have so many that, you know, that are moved down or are sitting in the pits, and he's back to his Dollar General 77. So, you know, maybe he's going to be on the podium tonight.
Yeah, it might be a possibility. I'm hoping to see, you know, if he can kind of keep chugging here. It's not looking too good. He's trying his best here to keep this thing rolling, but it's definitely tough. It's definitely tough. I'm not a road course fan myself. It just doesn't sit well with me every time I come out here and I end up in the dirt or the grass, or worse yet, the tires or the concrete barriers, you know. So I think my race team gets pretty tired of me tearing up cars. Jacob, I know you're pretty good at the circle tracks, man. But right, you know, beside road courses, how you out there?
I suck at them. I'll just be honest with you. I absolutely hate the road courses. Honestly, I think they need to leave the road course racing to the F1 cars and you know, the GT cars. Honestly, because I mean, I come from an old school, you know, NASCAR background where it was oval racing, super speedways, short track racing. You know, basically the grassroots of what made NASCAR what it is. But I mean, even if you know, even still, you know, we may not even like, you know, even though I don't like the road racing per se to even watch it, I'll tell you, I just think worth a flipping even racing it either, honestly.
Rotate here, back with Blake Cook and Jacob Sirkovich. Blake Cook having to lock up that right rear tire just a little bit while he gets into that hairpin right turn to start heading back toward the start-finish line here. It's looking pretty wild here. Almost that 15-second gap, knocking out Kevin Orlando out of the top three. Kevin Orlando now down almost 17 seconds off pace here. And these two guys in the front just rolling away with it. But I like, you know, taking a peek at some of these other guys in the back. It might be having those little battles. I mean, we are looking at that battle here for that 14th position. Jacob Sirkovich trying to reel him in and see if he can get around him. But, man, Blake Cook's holding a pretty solid line out here. Doesn't seem to be having too much trouble. I don't believe Blake Cook has been in any trouble here for the race. And, you know, he's just rocking and rolling here. I mean, only up 2 positions, but I got to admit, you know, this is that consistency I've been talking about. Just go out there, lay some solid laps down, don't eat a whole bunch of sand, and finish the race.
I mean, you're right. I mean, honestly, I mean, that's exactly what a lot of these guys really need to be worried about. This would be one of those races where, I mean, obviously we can sit here and say that it's hard, you know, for some of these guys to be able to to race on a road course, because obviously these guys are not used to going left and right. But you don't have to be the fastest car here. I mean, granted, like we talked earlier, Jeremy Burns, Justice Murphy, they're out to now a 17-second lead over Trevor Earhart in third. But like we talked about, Grant Thorpe, we talked about him. He hasn't really moved up or down. Top 10, that's just solid. I mean, that just gets you out of here, gets you gone, gets you ready for the next race. So, I mean, we talked about it as well, Patrick. I talked about it as well as you and Stella did too. This consistency is what these guys need to be worried about. Just like you said, log laps, get the race over with, and just get it over with, and then worry about the off week, and then go straight into Nashville.
Oh, yeah. Rotating on back to the 16th position of Matthew Robinson. He's been in a bit of trouble here this race as well. He ended up in some trouble, I believe, closer toward the beginning of this race, about lap 4. He had a whole bunch of trouble where he got tangled up with Chris Schaefer, Parker Johnston, and I believe Brandon Dunford. He ended up in a little bit of trouble. And Stella, what is on the front of his car here? Looks like a new sponsor.
It does. I think it says Down East.
Let's see if we can get a little bit of that drone footage out there as we take a quick little peek here at Matthew Robinson.
Yep, that's what it says.
Huh. All right. Oh, not too bad. Good to see him still rolling through here. No trouble out of his machine too bad, you know. At least he didn't have a whole bunch of damage he was having to fix out there as he battles on through. But so many drivers just, you know, when you start getting start falling back, you start coming off the pace here. You know, we're looking at 20th place, and these guys are already a lap down. Dylan Smoo will be the next to end up in a whole lot of trouble here if he doesn't get the pace rolling. How do you keep your head above water? I mean, how do you keep charging on through? I mean, Robert Rader, he's up 6 positions at least. He's still trying to fly on through, but he's about to be under fire here by James Loveland. Loveland taking that peak to the inside, but he's going to have to fall back as Rader gets a fantastic pull through that turn. So this is looking pretty solid here so far. Rader up 7 positions. He was actually tentative for showing tonight. He was a little unsure if he was going to be able to make it. A little bit of mechanical issues, but his wheel and pedals are fine now. Made it onto the track and he's trying to keep this roll going here. His points charge so far this race has been looking fantastic. And I mean, we talked a little bit about those points that we were speaking about. As you can guess, Caleb Gilbert on top of that chart there, and that is looking pretty solid. Trevor Earhart sitting second, and Jeremy Burns is third. Raider remember, he had a dismal start to the season. I mean, loss after loss. I mean, he wasn't even getting top 20s, and he was getting knocked out there. A couple of wins, getting some top 3s here, moves him up in that 4th position. So a lot of familiar faces here, 1 through 5. But where I'm wanting to know, Caleb Gilbert, I mean, he ain't here.
No, I mean, yeah, he's out. I mean, he actually disconnected from the race, and that obviously right there, you just basically just showed the points right there, Patrick. That's gonna basically have a lead change, I guess you could say, for the points tonight. So, as crazy as it will sound, Caleb Gilbert will not be the points leader after we leave Sonoma, which is a shame because he has been a very strong car throughout this season. But, we talked about this as well. Some of these guys might not be as good as some of the other guys at the road courses. This might have been their throwaway race, I guess you could say. Do good for about the first 10 races, 11 races. You come up on a road course and you throw it away, and then you just go right back to the ovals and just carry on. So, I mean, road course racing it's a wild card race. It's more like plate racing, I guess you could say. You got the ones that can do it and the ones that are not skillful enough to be able to pull it off.
Yeah, a couple of drivers already working their way down pit. I did see James Loveland working his way down. Now I believe our leaders are working their way down. Justice Murphy and Jeremy Burns. Trevor Earhart just entered pit, and I believe Kevin Orlando is going to stay out. So Kevin Orlando will be our first lead change here, sliding into the number 1 position. But I've got to admit, I'm wondering if anybody's going to be taking tires. With this being a road course, I would probably say no. There are a lot of guys that are just going to keep the heat in those tires, get back out onto the track and continue on. So our 1 through 5 now will be Kevin Orlando. Looks like Trevor, Keith, Grant, Thorpe, Alice Forget, and Jeremy Burns is able to make it down pit and work his way back out. That's what you've got to feel nice to have, that about a 20-second lead before you head in.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically what they did right there. I mean, they was able to have that big lead, him and Justice Murphy as well, coming right out behind one another. So they'll continue that race on. But I mean, that 20-second gap that they had played dividends right here for themselves to be able to be right here with these leaders. So when they do go pit, they're going to be right back up front, and they're going to be basically back to that 20-second gap that they had before they pitted.
Yeah, it makes you question, what could they have done? Is there a way that you could pit faster? I mean, can you throw on a set of tires? I mean, a set of tires will end up breaking the bank here. Seeing that most of our guys heading down pit now. Kevin Orlando's down pit. Jeremy Burns now has the lead back. Justice Murphy hopefully isn't too much farther behind. I believe he's got it in less than a second. That Justice Murphy has him reeled in here. So right back to it. These two are going to go at it here. But really, will lap traffic come into play? No, it will not. So they continue on through as they fight around the white and red car out there. I believe that is Dylan Smooten, the number 92. They go ahead and floss on around him and continue on this race. And this is mind-blowing to me, just the amount of distance that these two drivers here in the front have made on the rest of the field. I would say that some of this may be practice here, Stella, but I know a lot of guys who have practiced, and this track just didn't come to them here tonight.
Yeah, we have our usual suspects. We have Burns, we have Murphy, we have Earhart, that we usually see do well on these courses. But I think it's nice to see. I mean, I remember watching one where Robert Rader could not find the asphalt on a road course to save his life. And look at him. He's up here in 4th. I would expect to see Forget move up a little further, but here he is back up in 8th after that lovely tour of the sand dunes. But we
Yeah,
have
oddly enough, Alex Forget actually took 4 tires when he came down pit.
okay.
So what I'm saying is everybody from 7th on down was a fuel and go. Everybody about 9 seconds or less. Alex Forget is the first one to take tires, and so was Travis Gilbert in the 22 Ford. He ended up taking tires as well. I believe Grant Thorpe took tires, but I think he was down pit almost 19 seconds. So I don't know if he had some trouble heading down pit road, but a lot of guys just fuel and goes. Just those front runners that fuel and go. But is it going to pay off? I mean, Trevor Earhart's 21 and a half seconds behind. Rader's almost 26 seconds now off pace. I mean, how do you make up this gap? I mean, unless these two in the front kind of battle back and forth here and knock each other out, I just don't. You know what I mean? They may have already sealed the deal here.
Yeah, I think basically you're praying right now if you're back there in about the third, fourth area. But I mean, that's basically what you're doing right now. Is you're hoping these guys get up here, they race their hearts out, and and something happens, and they end up getting connected or what have you. But going back to what you was talking about, basically the top 7 fuel and go, and then Alex Forget was the one to take the tires. He may actually be trying something completely different. He might be trying to see if those tires is going to be able to help him. Now, from what I've been seeing as far as lap times go, nothing's really fallen off, especially for Justice Murphy and Jeremy Burns. They're kind of rolling with the same amount of pace every single time. They're not really falling off as bad, or if at all, really. So, Alex Forget may be trying something completely different, like I said, to see if that will help him out, see if he can get a little bit better tires than the other guys that's in front of him, see if he can jump a couple more spots. So, I mean, you got to do what the other guys ain't doing if you want to try to be able to get up front and mix it up.
Yeah, and we're taking a little look here at Michael Bennett. I'm noticing those times. Alex Forget with a 1:17.11 in the last run. Burns and Murphy still breaking that 1:17 mark down into the 1:16s. Nobody else has been able to touch those kind of times, and that is just paying off, man. This is exactly what you want to see out of your driver out here. When you guys have practiced, you got the car fucking, you got it all cracked up, ready to go, and this is what happens here.
Yeah, I mean, practice makes perfect. That's or at least that's what we've always been told, and it's been proven. Practice makes perfect, and obviously Jeremy Burns, Justice Murphy, they've done their fair share of the practicing. But Stella, you talked about Robbie Rader. You talked about him, that how he couldn't even hit the broadside of a barn. He couldn't even keep it on the asphalt. Now here he is running 4th. Started 13th, right now running 4th, up 11 spots, I believe. Or no, excuse me, up 9 spots, excuse me. So, yeah, my math's off a little bit tonight. Sorry about that, guys. But anyway, he has found that broadside of the barn, basically, now, running up in the top 5. So, you're seeing where the practice is, like I said, practice makes perfect, and it's showing right here in this race.
Oh, yeah. I also think we should mention we have a lot of people out there watching tonight. Doug Ross, one of our other broadcasters, he's actually a very big fan of the road course. We've got Haley and Ethan watching tonight. Terry Earhart's out there, and the Burns crowd. So it's nice to see everybody watching the race tonight.
Yeah, well, this race actually not. We're not losing drivers and we're not losing fans, so we appreciate each and every one of you joining us here at Simtrax Broadcasting with the Race and Revolution League here every Wednesday night, other than next week, as we're going, as we kind of watch these guys compete here at Sonoma, doing a fantastic job. Do want to give a shout out there. I believe I see Chuck Fletcher is out there as well. I'll be joining him later on in the month, Saturday and Sunday, for the big show out there. Definitely should be a decent race for the short track Saturdays and the super speedway Sundays. That should be at least a pretty decent race, I think so. But we are already up to the top 13 drivers, are the only ones still on the lead lap. I believe Trevor Keith is the next one who may be under fire here, and see what's going up. what can happen here, and what different opportunities these drivers may be able to have. I mean, how do you recover from one like this other than an off week? And then we head into a concrete track where guys are going to be hanging their head going, oh my gosh, what have I done here? So this track has really kind of thrown a curveball at this entire field out here, not just at the Racing Revolution, but in real life as well.
I mean, it throws a curveball to anybody. I mean, this is actually one of the more harder road courses that the Racing Revolution Series races on, and it's also one of the harder tracks, that NASCAR runs on. I mean, there's so many turns, a lot of shifting. You don't really have that one spot where you can just gas it up and drive it like you would say Coda, or like you would see at the Charlotte Roval, or even the Indianapolis Road Course. You may have the S's a little bit, but you're still lifting. You're trying to maneuver the car through there. You may have that front stretch right there where the start-finish line is, but still you're lifting. You're not wide open the whole time. You're finessing the throttle as much as you possibly can. So this is one of the I guess you could say this is the hardest road course that these guys will experience all season. And then going back to what you said, Patrick, taking off week, then they're going to the 1.3 mile concrete oval for Nashville Super Speedway. That's going to be really tough, as Jeremy Burns is actually off the track. Wow, actually missed it just by a little bit. Justice Murphy is actually going to take the lead here at Sonoma.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we just missed that as Jeremy Burns, you said, came off the track. We could probably take a quick little peek and see what in the world happened here and see if anything kind of, if it was unusual that maybe something slung him off the track here. Don't know 100% what exactly happened, but he may have ended up in a little bit of trouble here, as we're going to take a quick peek back here at Jeremy Burns and see what happened. Thing looks pretty solid. Pretty decent turn. Whoa. Yeah, entered the turn way too soon and it straightened him out. And that is exactly what Justice Murphy was waiting on as he slings around. So Justice Murphy, our new leader.
And Patrick, we talked about this time and time again. I know we sound like a broken record when we're saying it, but consistency. You gotta be consistent if you want to have a shot to win this race right here. And it might have been that one little slip up. I mean, these two guys right here mirroring each other as far as times go. So they're basically running the same times. Jeremy got out to a little bit of a lead right there and actually was starting to grow a little bit on Justice. So we'll see if he's going to be able to pass him back. But like I said, consistency. Gotta be consistent.
Are you consistently saying consistency?
Yes, I am. I mean, you gotta be consistent with everything you're doing. I mean, it's a battle of attrition here at Sonoma for these 55 laps.
Yeah, looking pretty good so far here for Justice Murphy, trying to get a breakaway here from Jeremy Burns with his mistake. I would say, remember how everybody pit back on about lap 19-20 mark. So we have at least one more green flag stop here, and these guys are going to have to send it down one more time and try to give it their best. I'm assuming we're going to see guys not take tires again. So this is all 55 laps, tearing these tires up, just trying to keep solid times here. This should be an interesting one. I'm not seeing where Justice Murphy has really made a whole lot of mistakes. We see him slip a little bit every now and then. But I've got to admit, when we look back at that turn, Jeremy Burns looked like he was about 10 miles an hour faster than he normally was. Instead of the line being his left tires, it was underneath of his seat, and that's what straightened him out. I think the bump got him, sent him the rest of the way up, and he wasn't able to check up there. But as you can see, this lap, as when I first came back here, he actually had the line under his seat, but he was going much slower this time. So it's definitely a speed and angle and a steering combination, 100%, as we see Jeremy Burns almost going back there to rearrange his bumper on a couple of turns here. So Jeremy Burns is pretty hungry. He wants to get back out front again, and Justice Murphy looks like he's not not in that market.
I think they're
No,
looking
he's-
for a good old debris on the track. Terry Earhart says, "Caution! They'd like to bunch them back up again."
Yeah, well, I like the side-by-side racing. I gotta admit, that is probably one of my favorite things about the stage breaks. I just think some of the stage breaks are a little silly, just because of the amount. I don't think, like in Charlotte, it shouldn't be almost every 60 laps we're under caution again. The drivers already have a hard enough time trying to get around the track as is, with enough cautions there. But a track like this, I mean, I would love to see Nick Alves get another shot at this. I mean, Nick Alves is teetering on the edge of going a lap down. I mean, it's just, and it's not like he's doing anything wrong. He just doesn't have a fast enough time here to stay out in front of these aces that are really flying around this track the way they are.
I mean, you're right. I mean, I would love to see Nick Alves get a shot at this. I would love to see Grant Thorpe, Parker Johnston, some of these guys that's just basically running about the 9th, 10th area. I mean, we've got 11 cars on the lead lap. So, I mean, yeah, I would love to see. I mean, I'd love to see a caution, just to mix it up. Just get a little bit of drama, get a little bit of action out there. But I mean, with with the no stage break, it's like we said, it plays into the strategy, plays into the long run, it plays into all that. But you never know. I mean, we may have a huge pileup. Somebody might get turned or whatever on the front stretch. We might end up getting about a 3-car pileup, and then they got to throw the caution at that point. If all of them's parked right there on the front stretch, we may end up getting that caution that we want. And then after that, it's going to be hell on wheels at that point because they're going to be going for it.
And it is, as the battle for third looks like it's starting to heat up between Robert Rader and Trevor Earhart. These two guys are separated by only about half a second here between these two. Earhart's getting a solid launch really around this front stretch and up the turns, but Rader's just got a different line he's taken, and he's able to attack. And I'm really liking what Rader's been doing. He's been terrible here on these road courses, but he's doing a fine job here tonight. Fine job also all about bugs. They do a fine job as well in that Knoxville area. Stella, tell me a little bit about them.
Yeah, more of the Sevierville, Tennessee area, but they are your 5-star family-owned pest control and termite experts. A free pest control quote or inspection is just a phone call away, and you'll find their family-owned operation friendly and professional. So like they say, if bugs are bugging you, you should be bugging us. Contact them at allaboutbugstn.com.
Appreciate you shouting that out. With about 24 laps left to go, our All About Bugs machine is into the lead. We do have our eyes over top of the Chapman Environmental Services 53 Ford out there, as he almost looks like he wins the All About Barrels award there on the beginning of pit. Definitely he's having some trouble out there. I think he's trying to see if he can find every single extra inch that he can gain here on Trevor Earhart before they have to pit. We're getting pretty close to that mark here. We're sitting about 31 laps in, and these guys are going to have to start thinking, do I pit now? Do I pit later? Do I pit when I'm out of fuel, or do I try to run it out here toward the end? Because I notice the more fuel these guys have in the cars, the faster they seem to be running. It's like they could throw a little more weight into the turns. But I would probably say, gives them, whoa, Raider almost bites that wall there. And they're able to kind of roll through the turns instead of having to gas up or worry about wheel spin.
I agree. I mean, with the gas like you're talking about, I mean, you want to have as much gas as you possibly can in the back of it. At least that's what I would think. Because like you said, with the weight, being able to keep that rear wheel spin, basically like you said, to be able to have that traction, that way that they can get all the grip they can. Because we talked about it earlier with them as shifting as much as they are, and they're trying to get on the gas as much as they can. As much weight as they can get in the back of the car to be able to weigh that back end down, and them being able to have as much grip as they possibly can. I wouldn't be surprised to see some of these guys actually run it out and just absolutely run it completely out of fuel. That way they can go in there and maximize as much gas as they possibly can in the car. That way they've got all that weight in the back and have all the grip that they can for the last stint of this race.
Yeah, put a little extra pressure onto those tires. Justice Murphy squeezing out there about a second lead now. Not too bad for somebody who had been tailing the number 9 Ford for most of this race. So Justice Murphy finally getting a squeak out there. We're still keeping an eye here on Raider. He seems to be the closest driver to the next person out there, really, that may be in a battle. I do want to mark back here Parker Johnston. Parker Johnston hasn't gotten a win yet this year. He's still in the hunt for one. He's sitting ninth, sitting by, chasing down Alex Forget. Alex Forget in the 19 Toyota. We have an eyeball on now as these guys are trying to floss their way around this field. And I would say as the rubber builds up on this track, things like that right there are going to happen. Alex Forget now drops down to ninth, and Parker Johnston moves up 3 positions now, getting that 8th spot. We've got a lot of work to do from some of these other drivers here in the front to continue this one going. Forget did have some trouble back on lap 32, and he's still battling that car. I'm wondering if those tires are really giving him some trouble, and somebody might want to cue in now Forget, hey man, go ahead and keep the tires that are on the car. They may tack up and save, kind of save his race here.
Yeah, that's all about pit strategy. And out in the chat, we have had a question about how far is the 21, and is he on the same pit strategy? And I just wanted to let him know that he and the top 4 all pit at the same time on lap 19.
Yes, yeah, actually all the way back to the 8th position with Parker Johnson, Kevin Orlando, Michael Bennett. All these guys did pit. I would say Kevin Orlando did hang out there 1 extra lap. So he came in on lap 20 while everybody else came in on 19. And I believe Loveland came in on 18. Yep. So yeah, he came in actually 1 lap earlier. And is it paying off? He's lost a couple positions here during the race. He did originally start 3rd. But biggest mover of the race is Raider. As Raiders, we move away. Raider overtakes Trevor Earhart here, and they definitely got it done. We're going to see if he can hold on to it. Earhart definitely, he is not one to let people pass.
No, he is not. Trevor Earhart, one of the more aggressive guys, I guess you could say, here in the Racing Revolution series. I've seen a lot of races with him, and he does not just give you a spot. I mean, he will race you all the way to the end. He's basically like the Ryan Newman, I guess you could say, from NASCAR. And if some of you viewers don't know who I'm talking about, Ryan Newman was always one of the hardest guys to pass. Even if he was 5 laps down, he still wouldn't let the leader go. So, but Trevor Earhart, he's got the skill and the patience to drive in these series here for the Racing Revolution, and also in these next gen cars. So, I mean, Raiders finding something right here, guys. I mean, he's starting to try to keep it right here in 3rd as he actually slides the tires and goes into the tires to the tire barrier, and then Trevor Earhart's just going to slide right back by him.
We're going to keep an eye on that 53. I think he's got engine damage. Yep, broke the left front toe link. So as soon as he got it, he lost it. I did want to go back and rewind and take a little look here at how Raider got a hold of Trevor Earhart for the pass. There, exact same spot. Trevor Earhart locked him up there, and this time Robert Raider slides it, and actually to his car's death here. He kind of serves the same deal. Heads into this turn, just gets too hot.
Oh. Well, you wouldn't have think that would break him.
Yeah, that definitely took out the left front here.
And folks, in real life, those tires would actually cushion the blow just a little bit, but on iRacing, it's basically like just hitting a concrete wall. Those tires will not move, so it's basically, like I said, just hitting a concrete wall when Robert Raider hit those tires.
Yeah, so that is going to do it for Robert Raider's race here tonight. As he will be sent all the way back. A couple of drivers going to work their way around them as their laps down. Raider already down to that 15th position. I would say it's probably a pretty good thing that the Racing Revolution has about, I think, 4 drop races this season, so this is going to be one of them. But he had like I said, he had a dismal beginning of the year. He's been able to recover here in the past few races. The same as Justice Murphy. These guys have finally got a win here, a win there, and different types of talent here in the Racing Revolution League. Compared to last season, we're noticing a lot more talented drivers. I mean, right now, this is a completely different Jeremy Burns than we saw last time, as Jeremy Burns has the lead now as Justice Murphy works his way down the pit. Jeremy Burns has come on strong. I mean, I believe he's got 2, if not 3 wins already this season. And he has just been on the move. I mean, he had a couple wins last season, but we broke past the halfway point here, Stella, and the Mountain Man is really looking to make sure there is no doubt why he's trying to aim for the championship for this season.
Yeah, he's not going to go in on squeak points this time, and 1 win. He's going in with authority.
Yeah, last season, I don't know if anybody remembers, a quick little refresher, is actually he had the make or break race for that championship and Nick Alves ended up beating him out there at the end to get in there. Alves, unfortunately, was not able to win it, and Raider took away his 2nd season win in a row. Raiders still looking for that 3rd one, but like I'm saying, these guys, it's a completely new level. Raiders having a heck of a time here, going with the new car, the new updates, the new tire models, and just so many different other things that are happening. Is really kind of changing up a whole aspect of this drive here about how this guy is going to overcome. How is he going to continue the charge here, and how can he stay consistently fast and staying up in the front to where he can coast through these playoffs, and really have to, turn up the heat when it comes to the final round of 8.
Yeah, and you're talking about all this with them having to deal with all the updates and deal with everything else. It's basically like a rule change that even, the admins of the Racing Revolution, these rules basically that they're not even making. It's just iRacing that implements these as well. As you see, Burns was actually on pit road. Justice actually barely squeaked by him, and Murphy's actually going to retake the lead. But that's where champions are made, when they've got to go with rule changes on the fly to be able to succeed, because they've got to go with every little change that they can deal with. As while Murphy hits the rumble strip, Burns gets into the back of him. Burns may try to dive, actually gives Murphy a little shot. Wow, I'm telling you, these 2 guys right here, they are racing their hearts out up here for the lead right now, and everybody else is about 20 seconds behind them. But this is the battle right here. Murphy and Burns going at it here in Sonoma.
Yeah, look at the distance Justice Murphy's now putting on Jeremy Burns. We are taking a ride along here with Justice Murphy, looking out that back windshield here. Fantastic job, but Jeremy Burns, look at him coming with all that speed in that turn. This is the one that took out Earhart and Raider at the same time. And I've got to admit, you talk to these 2 guys, what is the key of being fast at a road course? They say throttle control, and that's exactly what you're seeing here. Justice Murphy backs up that turn, jams Jeremy Burns where he didn't want to be, and Justice Murphy's taking off again. Got a comfortable little 0.2 of a second cushion here, but man, he's got a mirror full of that number 9 machine.
All up into the back of him right here. Jeremy Burns trying to see if he can make something happen. They're actually coming up on a lap car. Burns is going to get into the back of him. Lap car was actually Nick Alves. He's going to go a lap down. Murphy almost gets turned. Burns trying to use him up, and they are door to door, literally beating doors going into turn number 7. Burns will take the lead, and he's going to get past Justice Murphy now. What does Justice Murphy do? Does he push him, try to get back up there and try to get a hold of Jeremy Burns? He saw how Burns raced him a little bit. Granted, Murphy might have got a little bit loose, hit the rumble strip, but Burns didn't give him an inch. He was actually trying to mess him up the best that he possibly can, because these guys know right here, this is for the win. Nobody else is really within earshot of both of these guys. So what does Murphy do? Does he let Burns go up there and burn his stuff up? Or does Murphy try to get back up there and go after him? It's going to be really, really interesting to see what happens these last 15 laps.
Jeremy Burns has only made 1 mistake this entire race so far, with 15 laps left to go. Justice Murphy may be running out of time here. I mean, he's got less than 20 minutes to kind of negotiate how to get around him here. Now, Jeremy Burns, the way he did race him, I would probably say right now that number 12's got a chip on his shoulder. You can't tell me he didn't come off that turn. Those eyeballs were focused directly on that kick out of that wall, because one little touch and it's going to destroy that race car. There's no ricochet. Right there, they pass it again. So you could see Jeremy Burns rode him up into that, into the wall that poked out there. And I would probably say he's not going to be happy. He's going to go up there when they revisit, which I'm sure we'll see here in probably another 8 laps or so. Justice Murphy might not play as nice as he has been the entire rest of this race.
Yeah, my thought at this point, if you notice Loveland and Forget, well, heck, something just happened to Forget. But it was, yep. They're sitting back there 30 seconds behind all this mess, just giggling, because they're waiting for the two of them to to have a field day, spin each other out, and they're gonna ride off into victory.
Patrick, honestly, and this is what I was going to say. This right here has got shades of, I believe it was, and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it was 2015 when Tony Stewart and Denny Hamlin battled it out at this actual track right here at Sonoma, beat and banged for the last lap. Well, we're actually going to get a little bit more now, because it's not just the last lap right here. These guys, 13 laps to go, and already beating and banging the way that they was doing. I'm telling you, I'm with you. When Justice gets to Burns, and he will get to Jeremy Burns, I'm telling you, Burns just better hold on to the steering wheel and pray at that point, because he raced him a little dirty. I mean, granted, you could call it rubbing racing or what have you, but I'm telling you, Murphy is not going to forget that right there. When he gets to Burns, it's going to be on like Donkey Kong.
Yeah, now remember I was talking earlier about drivers who had hit that 116 mark. These guys are hitting the 115 mark now. Burns and Murphy actually picking up the pace by another second, faster than everybody else. But Loveland, Earhart, and Bennett, Parker Johnston, Alice Forget, Grant Thorpe, their best times have hit the 116s. But right now, for some of these last lap times, I mean, this is why they're out front. By so much. They are consistently sitting there, in that area. But let's see if we can grab a little piece here of Robert Rader. Rader, you got a copy?
I got you, Patrick.
All right, man. Well, this race did not go your way. Fortunately, there are drop races. Talk to me about the race around Trevor Earhart out there.
Yeah, we had an awesome battle, actually. I haven't had time all week to practice this, so I mean, I got in and ran my first laps 20 minutes before practice opened. Honestly, running third on pace, especially after being off the track, I felt like it was a huge accomplishment. So even after making a really bad mistake in 11 and totaling in the car, I still feel like it was a really good day. We'll take that momentum into the next road course and maybe put some practice in and put the whoop on these guys next time.
Yeah, well, fortunately, we do have an off week. Nashville, I believe, is where we're heading next. So we get off this insane track here and head back to the concrete. Are you happy about that?
Yeah, it's been a pretty good track for me. I think Justice is going to be really fast there. Grant's going to be really fast there. They were fast there last season. But it's a really cool, unique track. I mean, it kind of has like some Dover aspects to it, with like not sliding your tires too much, not overheating your stuff because it's concrete. But then it has that 1.5 mile kind of momentum aspect to it, which is really unique. So it's a pretty cool track. I think I kind of Mickey Moused my way into a win there last season on some tires, and maybe roughed a couple guys up to get there. But well, we'll see what we can do. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, man. Well, this track is really kind of separating the men from the boys out here. There just doesn't seem to be any room for error. A couple of guys that slip and slide around a little bit. Some of them, not tacking up. Guys not taking tires. Some taking tires. And we're definitely noticing, our aces in the field here, Jeremy Burns and Justice Murphy. These guys are, I mean, they're not even close. The rest of the field about 50 seconds off. Almost the entire field has been put a lap down here. What's the secret that you think these guys are doing out there? Because all I can get from them is patience and throttle control.
Well, I mean, both of those things are definitely a huge factor, but I mean, these two guys started up front, which I think is probably the reason why they're 50 seconds ahead. I mean, we had a huge stack up from 3rd to 9th at one point there, and slowly everybody made a mistake that took them out of it. I about did it myself before I finally did it in turn 11. But you know, it's a tough racetrack. Of all the road courses that we go to, this one just requires so much flow. You know, you have the S's, which have a lot in common with kind of the Coda S's, where you have a lot of, there's a lot of time to be made and lost there, right? I mean, between the close guys, I feel like the front half of the track actually was where I was making up all my time, and I was throwing it away in the S's to everybody else who was better than me down there. So, but you know, management's a huge thing. Burns, I mean, he's just all of a sudden the best road course racer in the league, which I think is awesome. But
Good for those
Justice and
team
Burns
points,
have been. That's great for the team points. Yeah, I'm not helping today, I don't think. So, well, actually, I guess Caleb and Israel both had terrible races today. So I guess I count tonight, even with my bad results. So we'll count that as a W there too. You know, 2nd place out of all the people on the team.
Oh yeah, well, Jeremy Burns still has a little bit left to go, I would say. Justice Murphy just put down his fastest time out there on the track for the amount with a 1:15.41. That's just about.
That's a crazy lap.
Yeah, 30 thousandths faster than Jeremy Burns. Right now, unfortunately, Justice Murphy's falling off by about 1.5 seconds here. He's gonna have to figure out how to dig deep and find something going on here, because Jeremy Burns, well, I mentioned it before, he is going into the playoffs with authority. He is not going to have a Nick Alves moment again, I assure you of that.
I assure you that too. I mean, there's a reason we brought him on the team this year. He's been absolutely killing it everywhere we go. I mean, this is one of the more technical tracks we're going to go to this year, and you see, I mean, he hasn't put a tire wrong all race, I think. I think he told me at one point, I made a mistake. And I was like, oh, crap, how bad was it? And he's like, I just lost the lead. It'll be all right, you know. You know, kept it on the track enough to still be in it, and now, I mean, he's pulling away from Justice, who, I mean, not to take anything away from Justice, because he's been class of the field tonight, you know, him and Jeremy, but, you know, Jeremy is, he's really good. And when you compare the type of equipment that Jeremy is working with to the type of equipment that everybody else in this field is working with, I mean, his setup costs, I mean, what, $400? You know, Justice Murphy's setup costs $1,500, $2,000, right? I mean, it just shows that it's not all about the equipment. You know, there's a lot of talent involved here too in order to get it done.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Appreciate it, Robert, and hopefully we'll catch up with you another time.
Absolutely. Thank you for the broadcast, and I hope you get a good finish to this one. They're still pretty close.
Yeah, it's looking pretty close, but Murphy's got to get it. Good luck, man.
Thank you. I'm going to go cheer Jeremy Burns on in private chat now. Appreciate it.
Yep. All right, that'll do it for Robert Rader there. As we continue on this race here, still looking pretty solid for the mountain man in front, but notice how Justice Murphy is able to suck up just a little bit of moves here out there in the chat to swamp 11. No, I didn't say that move was dirty. I just I say Burns got to the edge of him and Murphy got a little nervous of that wall. I think a quick little check up there by the number 12, but it would take a catastrophic problem. I think these guys could spin out, get back on the track before Trevor Earhart still could end up there and reaching him.
And stop and get a Slurpee too.
Yeah, I believe my dad once said, you know, it looks like he could stop, smoke a cigarette, and count his change before anything showed up there. So, but that'll be I think that's what it would take. But it looks like the Mountain Man may be driving away with this one yet again. for another race. We're going to see Jeremy Burns win.
I mean, Burns is really, like you said, the class of the field. And, you know, Robert Rader, he talked about it as well. And Stella, all of us has talked about it. Jeremy Burns being the class of the field. Justice Murphy, both these guys, classes of the field. And it's actually very intriguing that we brought Robert in here and we talked to him, or excuse me, you talked to him and talked about the difference, you know, as far as what their setups cost. You know, he talked about Burns's setup costing about $400. Murphy's costing $1,500. You know, and that's actually very good. You know, for, I guess you could say, the little man. I guess you could say, you know, because I would be one of those little men. I guess you could say, where you know, not having a huge budget to be able to have basically everything that you want to race. Obviously, you don't, you know, you want the most expensive stuff. Obviously, you want the whole simulator moving and everything else. But I mean, that's awesome to see that right there, with Burns using the equipment that he has and practicing with it and showing, you know, the talent and the skill that he's got. You know, obviously off the budget. I mean, but, you know, budgets aside, I mean, skill is what comes into play, especially here at this racetrack like Sonoma. And he's putting it on him. I mean, honestly, I thought Justice would actually close back in on him and give him a run for his money, but he's got 6 laps left. He better find something pretty quick, because Burns looks like he's starting to pull away now.
I think he better contact Acme and get a rocket in the rear.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, he might need to, seeing how this race is ending here at the end. I would say, you know, everybody kind of mentioned his equipment. Yeah, I've always made fun of him for the small steering wheel, but he also competes in the college series. He's also raced with a bunch of big names out there, you know, actual real race car drivers that can meet up on iRacing. So he has had some mentoring out there, you know, not just, you know, he's not pulling a rabbit out of his hat. He's finding a couple of guys out there, surrounding himself with the right people. You know, you want super speedway stuff, you find somebody like Kevin Orlando, you find Nick Alves, you find Matthew Robinson. You want road racing, you start grabbing hold of Justice Murphy, Parker Johnson, Trevor Earhart. You find the right guys. You want mile and a half cookie cutters, you get a hold of James Loveland, you get a hold of Alice Forget, you get a hold of Robert Rader, and that's what he's doing, is he's surrounding himself with the right people, getting his way up there. And this is why you see the improvement in his game here, is he has found time, he's working his way through the field, he's maintaining calm even though he's getting obliterated in some races, but he's still coming out on top in each and every race, and that's exactly what he needs to do here. As only 6 drivers are left on the lead lap. Parker Johnson will be the next one under fire, but 5 laps left to go. He might catch Johnston, and he might catch James Loveland, but I don't know. I think that may be a little mercy there for Michael Bennett, who's doing awesome for a top 5 position here tonight.
Yeah, Michael Bennett, I mean, that would be awesome for him to be able to finish on the lead lap. Honestly, you know, Parker Johnston and James Loveland, for those guys to finish on the lead lap as well. So that would be very nice to see that for those guys. I mean, we got Parker Johnston started this race 11th all the way up to 6th. That's a big run right there for Parker. You know, past couple of races he hasn't had the luck or the results to show, but we talked about it earlier, Stella. I know you're gonna start laughing because you know I'm gonna start saying it. Consistency. Exactly, consistency, and that's exactly what Parker Johnston has been able to show. Granted, he might go a lap down, but a lap down at this point, it doesn't matter. It's not any less points if he goes a lap down. It's all about where he finishes, and he's doing everything that he needs to do to be able to have a successful run tonight. So that, me personally, if I was Parker Johnston, I'd take this right here as a win any day of the week.
Oh yeah, and you want to talk consistency. Consistency is Dylan Smoot. Now don't get me wrong, he's a lap down here, but he is the biggest mover of this race. He's up 13 positions, sitting at 11th at that 11 mark. I mean, that 92 Ford has been doing awesome here tonight. You know, I believe, you know, his team could use a break here. I believe the two Dunfords and Dylan Smoot on the same team. It's just kind of, these guys need a break, and I think if he were able to overtake Trevor Keith ahead of him here, and get a solid top 10 at a road course, might give his team just a little more confidence boost, get them back out onto the track and get them in the right direction again.
And that would be awesome right there to see that for some of these guys. I mean, like you said, for Dylan Smoot, but I mean, wow, 24th out of 25 cars. That's where he started, and he's almost fixing. I mean, well, he would crack the top 10. He's 2 laps down Trevor Keith in 10th, 1 lap down, but still, that's a big win for Dylan Smoot. And I mean, we talked about this with some of these guys. I mean, this is a wild card race. This is where you're going to see some of the guys that you don't necessarily see up front run up front. I mean, that's what you're seeing right there, Dylan Smoot. Big night for him right there. Like I said about Parker Johnston as well right here for Dylan Smoot. This right here, a win right here. Take it and go on. Take the points and carry on to the next one.
And it's a good night for Mayhem Motorsports because Brandon Dunford and Dylan Smoot are both still on the track here, here with 3 to go.
That they are. A couple laps left to go here. Once we get around a couple of these turns here, Stella, and right now, I think this, unless Jeremy Burns kind of messes up here, Murphy off by about 3 seconds off pace here from Jeremy Burns. Awesome run here tonight. This is fantastic right now. Glad to see James Loveland back. Consistency for him as well. I haven't seen him, I believe, place out of the top 10 since he has returned. He has been on a roll here as of late, and he's definitely showing it off in the points. Remember, he gave up his points last season to allow another driver to get in. I believe Alex Kenton was the last one to get in for the round of 12. James Loveland was not here in the first beginning of the season, so even if he wins a race, he will not end up getting in there and be a win-wise. He has to get in on points, and right now he's making it known. He is back, sitting 5th position right now in that Chevrolet, and he's really rocking it here so far. But he's just got to get a couple more clean laps, stay in front of Parker Johnston here, and finish this race.
I mean, you talked about it right there earlier with the cookie cutters, the plate racers, the road course racers. You talked about it. You talked about James Loveland being one of those guys that is one of those cookie cutter guys. This is also, once again, great run right here. James Loveland being, like you said, one of those cookie cutters coming out here and grabbing a top 5 here at Sonoma. If he can hold on right here, like you said, with Parker Johnston, that's a big deal right there for Loveland to be able to just notch off some great wins, notch off some great finishes. I mean, that's basically what you want, and I've said it before, I'll say it again. That's what you want here at these road courses, is to have obviously consistency. I know, Stella, go ahead. Yeah, consistency, but that's what you want. But I'm telling you right now, coming right here with this last lap right here, Jeremy Burns looks like he's got this bad boy in the bag. As long as he don't mess it up in turn 11, he's got this bad boy in the bag.
Yeah, so far so good. It looks like he might be able to just push the clutch in and coast it on through and not really have to worry about putting the pressure down. But man, look at him. He's going to get it done here. Jeremy Burns got it, getting it squared away here as the Mountain Man comes away with another win here in the Racing Revolution League. Fantastic job. He did it.
There's his good Tiger Woods punch.
That's awesome to see that. Justice Murphy going to be able to get 2nd place. Real hard fought between both of these guys. Like we said, these both guys, Jeremy Burns, Justice Murphy, both classes of the field tonight, basically just put the whooping on every single guy in the field. I mean, great race right there by both of those guys. Honestly, I thought when Jeremy Burns had that one little slip up and Justice got in front of him, I thought that was right there was going to be the move of the race, but Jeremy Burns put on a charge and was able to get back by him. So congratulations to Jeremy Burns on the win.
Yeah, there we go. As he finds somewhere there's a little extra pavement and not sand, he's going to fry the tires off here.
I do think what I love about this kid is the fact that he's still thrilled, with every win. And it just shows, and it makes you want to root for him more and more.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. Awesome job here by the number 9 of Jeremy Burns coming away with the win here tonight. See if we can get these race results pulled up, see if we can find where your drivers ended up. I know a few of them are still trying to finish here. Some of them working their way on through. Raider, hey! Rob made it back out.
That's a heck of a pit crew.
Yeah, no kidding. Talk about throwing on the tie rod end and getting back at it. Oh, my. That would have been so funny if we just tuned into him and he slammed into the wall here. He might be just seeing what he can do with the car. He's got nothing left to lose here. Yeah, awesome job by our drivers out there, really getting, making the moves here. I'm concerned about some of these drivers and how they figured out, where was the right place to be. How do you know how much to put down? How do you know how to, I don't know. I'm baffled at this point, kind of how these guys are, how they can determine, where they are here for the race. So let's go ahead and take a look at where everybody finished here tonight. Now, as I say, Stella, go ahead and run us through the top 10 here.
Sure. We've got our first and second, Jeremy Burns, Justice Murphy, Trevor Earhart, Michael Bennett, Parker Johnston in 5th, James Loveland 6th, Kevin Orlando came in 7th, Grant Thorpe in 8th, Nick Alves made it in the top 10, and Trevor Keith rounds it out as the 10th place Go for Broke Racing.
There we go, and the remainder of our drivers, John Fike getting almost immediately wiped out there early in the race. Blake Cook had some trouble as well. Raider fumbling around down there in that 17th position. Yeah, Caleb Gilbert, he had an abysmal night there with Jeffrey Israel. So a couple of at least 3 out of the 4 drivers from Element X had a dismal night here. As they battled through, they still remain out there and trying to put some solid times down. But guys, hold on just a moment, and we'll be right back and talk to our final 3 drivers. Alrighty, everybody. I believe we have caught up with our 3rd place finisher here tonight. Trevor Earhart, talk to me about this race, man. This just doesn't seem to have an easy way around here at all.
No, it's a fun racetrack. Not one of my best tracks, obviously, given the results. And I got 0 practice this week for Sonoma, and it goes to show, man, Burns and Justice were just on a whole nother level. I think by now it's clear that the 3 of us are kind of the ones to watch out for when it comes to road courses. But they were in a league of their own here tonight, and I had nothing for them. It took me 20 to 25 laps before I was even running lap times competitive with them. But for no practice and kind of the scruffy race that we had, I'll gladly come out of here with a third place finish tonight.
All right. Well, I was told that somebody started hitting the gym tonight, and your arms might be noodles, and that's why we why we had some trouble getting around the track.
Yeah, we trying to be a little bit healthier in life and started going back to the gym, and they're a little sore. I tell you what, turning left and right and shifting tonight was a workout in and of itself. Even though today was the off day, I think feel like I got my cardio in. I'm sweating right now from that, but no, it's just this league has just gotten so competitive week in, week out that if you don't put in the practice over the course of the week, you're going to be off by a couple tenths, or in this case, at the road course, a couple seconds. And over the course of a 55-lap race, I think, they would probably another 5-10 laps. They probably would have lapped me. So I mean, that's the difference to what it is. I mean, you got to put in the practice if you're going to be competitive, and definitely for I believe Chicago Street, which is the next one, we're going to be putting in some practice because I got to come out here and win one of these daggum things, man. I got to kick somebody's butt.
But God turned it up, man. You kind of been, I wouldn't say slumping lately, just not getting the wins I think we'd expect to see you getting here. But fortunately, next week is an off week. We head to Nashville for at least a 1.3 mile concrete track. Talk to me a little bit about it.
I feel pretty good about Nashville. I think we would have been good there last year had Justice not sent me off in turn 4 like 10 laps into the race. Pretty sure that was payback from Charlotte, but no, I mean, just kidding. That was just an unfortunate racing incident there last year. But I feel pretty good about Nashville. We'll have to see what practice is going to be like. I think track position is going to be key, and qualifying this season hasn't been my strong suit. But somehow, even at the races I don't qualify well, we're up front. So I expect to be up toward the front again next week. Hopefully, we can put a finish together. I know Charlotte, we got involved in some messes there. We had a fast enough car to win that race. Gateway didn't have the fastest car to win, but could have had a solid top 5 before we got taken out there. So it's good to get a good top 5 finish, top 3 finish here tonight, and we'll try to build that momentum going forward next week into Nashville.
All right. Well, give me a shout out, son.
As always, shout out to you and Stella and everybody there in the Simtrax broadcast booth. Y'all do a great job week in, week out. Chapman Environmental Services, Ultimate Siding and Gutters, Butt Kicker, for sponsoring the league. They're so great to have them all on board, allow us to do this week in, week out. Everybody in the league, I know road course racing isn't everybody's favorite thing to do, but it was a good turnout here tonight. My teammates, Parker and James Loveland, they had good finishes tonight, 5th and 6th. I got to shout out Schaefer, our other teammate. I know he didn't get the finish he wanted, had some power outages that took him out early on. So hopefully he can bounce back in 2 weeks at Nashville, and the 4 of us can all get a good solid top 10, top 15 result for the team. As always, shout out to my grandparents in Houston. My grandmother texted me, told me she wanted me to win tonight. Came up short, so I disappointed my grandmother just a little bit. But I did warn her it wasn't my favorite track, so shout out to them for tuning in. I know. I'm sorry. Shout out to my mom and dad for tuning in. My sister, brother-in-law, my nephew for tuning in as well. Love all you guys. Thanks for the support week in, week out. And congratulations to Burns and Justice. From what I heard, it was a heck of a battle between those two. So thankfully they were able to put on a good show, and hopefully in 2 weeks in Nashville we can be up there racing for a win and put on a heck of a show as well.
Well, the best part about grandmas is they'll still love you.
I know, that's the best part about it. So
Jeez. All right, Trevor Earhart, appreciate you joining us, man. We'll catch you next week.
Yes, sir. Y'all take care. Yep, 2 weeks. Hey, enjoy that off week.
Oh, too little, too late, my man. All right, see ya
later.
All right, everybody, that is going to do it for our 3rd place finisher. Let's go ahead and rock and roll on to our man here who ended up 2nd place, and I've got many, many questions for him. Justice Murphy, talk to me here a little bit, buddy. What this race did or did not go your way here?
Oh man, I don't know what to say about it. I was a little disheartened after practice yesterday. Didn't seem to have it for whatever reason. This par. I guess this setup on the road courses, I don't know. It doesn't really cooperate with me. This is a high wear track. You got to do every corner just perfectly. You know, at Coda, you have runoffs and things like that. Here, if you don't hit it perfectly, you're just braking to try to get the car corrected, and then you're just slow. So it was just a little off, and I knew it. I mean, I watched it. I watched Caleb outrun me yesterday in practice and thought, what in the world am I doing wrong? So kind of had to reset. Came into today and was frustrated in practice today. I was like, man, I'm third quick. Like, what's going on? Get in the qualify fourth. I think a little bit of me getting into second there early was due to the little, I don't even know what happened to Alex. I think he put an explanation in general chat, but whatever happened there kind of checked up the field, and we came around and kind of took off. But yeah, it was just one of those nights. It just didn't feel right. I told Burns that's the hottest I've ever been. I said it to Jacob. Well, it's the hottest I've ever been. I've sweated through my shirt. Glad I didn't put the camera on tonight. I forgot while I was in practice. But you guys would see a very sweaty, ready to take this shirt off and go put another one on kind of guy. But yeah, it was tough. Burns put up a great run. Always try to give credit to him.
All right. Well, some of the people out there said I said it was a dirty move, and I didn't think so. I just think he held you up a little more, and you got fixated there. Talk to me about the run where he came and passed you back. It looked like you were getting ready to bite the wall there with a little inside rubbing.
Yeah, that was I don't know what happened there. It almost looked like at the pit stop that he maybe took left side tires. But my JRT wasn't working, so I couldn't see the timing on that. But he may not have. He probably was still in the same set when I look at the times he was running at the end. But yeah, we just came out of the pits and we were closer than we should have been. I think I had a little better pit stop as far as getting in, kind of cheating all the way down through the U-turn before we had to be at pit road speed. But I looked up and realized I was only doing 40 down pit road, and it was 45. So came out, he was right on my tail, and then kind of beating the bumper off through that first lap, his out lap, and then kind of off of turn 4 there. I got up there, got loose off of the curbing, and so he got to the inside, kind of pushed me up there, and you probably saw me. I kind of ran him a little low, like, hey, we'll just fight it out in the next corner. But once we got down there, I just didn't have anything for him. I did think at the end of the race, I probably was kind of trending back towards getting to him. I know he gapped me a little bit, like a second and a half to 2 seconds when he got past Kevin. And then I got to Kevin's bumper in 3, thinking that Kevin would just go left, let me by, so me and Burns could battle it out. And Kevin just kind of held the line, held me up, and kind of sealed the race there. There was not going to be a battle. I wasn't going to be able to catch him from 3 seconds back with 6 laps left.
Yeah. Now it's still a tough one, man. But we are off. I was hoping you were gonna be able to go 2 for 2, but that's okay, man. But we have Nashville in a couple of weeks. That concrete track. Talk to me a little bit about it. And you're pretty strong there.
Yeah, I quite like it. It's going to require a lot of braking, kind of similar to what you see at the road courses. So we're going to have to get these things slowed down. They'll be flying. You'll see some draft slingshotting going on the backstretch, if I had to guess. But yeah, it'll be fun. It was fun last year when we ran it. Little different setup. The car will be a little snugger. So you probably won't see anybody be able to get up and run like the second lane. If I had to guess, it'll be a 1-lane battle, but we'll make it work. We'll make it fun. Hopefully, get out there and battle for the win. That's what we'd like to do.
Oh yeah. Well, give me your shout outs here about the All About Bugs 110.
Yeah, man. Shout out to you guys. Great broadcast every week. Go back and watch it back, and just love to hear what you guys do. You guys work so hard at getting this thing together. Shout out to Chapman Environmental Services, Ultimate Siding and Gutters, Butt Kicker, All About Bugs on the car, All About Bugs sponsoring the race. Shame we couldn't get this thing parked in Victory Lane, but have a good feeling kind of going to the second half of the season. We'll have an off week, go to Nashville, and be ready to get primed up and make a playoff run.
Oh yeah, man. Well, something in my gut told me there was going to be a 3 for 3. The middle of this season was going to be all yours. Coming away with a win last week, a win tonight, and then Nashville. It just seemed like the perfect trio for you to try to get your upswing here before we start heading into playoff crunch time, where a lot of these drivers are going to really go for broke. They're not going to start giving any more mulligans, letting people, bash them around at all. But Justice Murphy, congratulations on your second place finish, and we'll see you in a couple weeks, my man.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Patrick.
Yeah, bud. All right, everybody, that is Justice Murphy, and we'll grab a hold of Jeremy Burns here in just a second as we kind of get chasing him down from his celebrations. The number 9, the Mountain Man, just even Justice Murphy said, man, I just might not had enough for him. Jeremy Burns, talk to me about this race, dude. This really worked out in your favor here tonight.
I mean, from the drop of the green flag, it was Justice Murphy and I have so much respect for him because I felt like we were bumper to bumper the entire race. And 55 laps around Sonoma isn't a short race by any means. So we were competitive through pit stops. Every section of the track, I feel like he was better than me in some corners, but others I was better than him. And overall, just great execution. I had one mistake that let him by early on. So we were kind of fighting that a little bit and trying to get back to him. And, I kind of gave him a bumper, a little bit of the fender, I mean, that's just stock car racing on road courses, especially with passing. But honestly, at 55 laps, I couldn't have been more ecstatic. I told Justice after the checkered flag waved that, man, I have so much respect for you because we went toe-to-toe for 55 laps, and that was a pure, awesome battle.
Yeah, it did seem you guys were battling back and forth. I did ask Justice, I want to get your little piece on it. That pass where you got him back, he did look like he slipped up, but you were the inside of him. And I didn't say out there, I think some of your viewers may think I was kind of pointing fingers at you, but I thought you may have ridden him up the track just a little bit because he returned the favor after that wall kick out there. I mean, we saw from this angle what was going on inside the car.
I mean, you have to get aggressive once you get on the back bumper of somebody, right? And Justice and I talked about it, and he said that he would have done the same exact thing. Using a little bit of the bumper is not necessarily dirty per se. It's more of just like actually physically moving somebody takes a lot of skill without dumping them. And we just have that respect because we know that we're going to race each other hard every second that we get. And that's where just the whole respect thing comes down to because I hit him a little bit, right? Gave him a couple 0X's, but I didn't spin him because I did not want to end that battle. That battle was amazing for all 55 laps. So, yes, I made contact with him, and I'm not ashamed to say that because, I mean, that's just stock car racing, especially at road course races.
Oh yeah, I totally agree with that. I'm just meaning the side by side. Like you could have pulled down from that line a little bit. I mean, I think half his seat was in his pants when he got right up close to that wall there.
Oh, geez.
All right, man. Couple weeks, Nashville. Talk to me about it real quick.
Personally, the only race that I've ran there is the college series, and that was with the Xfinity car. So we're gonna definitely have to put in some practice, but it's nice to have an off week. Luckily Racing Revolution, all the admins here, they give us a break every once in a while, and it's really nice. But that's just gonna be more time to practice for me, and especially, I mean, I'm working now, so we get a little bit less time for practice on a week-to-week basis. So having that extra week to practice more, it's definitely gonna help.
Oh yeah, buddy. Well, we're excited to see how you sling into the playoffs, man, because it's not going to be a light points race. This is going to be a commanding lead, seeing that you got all the stage points tonight. You get the win tonight, and this isn't the first time. So, no more tumbling with Nick Alves on a try to win in basis. We are going to obviously slingshot on through, and it's not going to be a problem. Jeremy Burns, give me shout outs here.
I mean, I got to shout out the guys and gals of 604. Got to shout out my mom and dad with their continued support. My grandma, Miss Betsy, the rest of the family. I know Coach P's out there watching. Sonny and his kids, they're out there watching. Any other supporters that I may not know who's watching. So any other supporters, not only for me but for the league. Y'all are amazing. Element X Racing, they brought a piece today, and I mean, we had a little bit of hiccups with the other drivers, and it is what it is. But we were extremely fast all weekend, so it was great. And then Chapman Environmental for being on the hood, because their continued support's amazing, not only for me but my teammates in the league. Simtrax, obviously, y'all do an amazing job, and I can't wait to go back and watch this. And I want to see how that battle looked for all 55 laps. All About Bugs for sponsoring the race. They definitely put up a lot of money for us to go out there and race for, and it's really great to see the participation by all the sponsors, especially in this league, that help us get to where we're at, and everyone who made this possible. Any other sponsors, Ultimate Siding and Guthers, Coastal Financial. I can't think of many off the top of my head, but anyone out there who supports this league, y'all are amazing. And I got to shout out a couple of people in particular. Ted Wreckage, I better not be called an underdog anymore. All right. I watched the podcast. And he picked me as an underdog pick. All right. So let's just get that out of the water. But also Kevin Orlando, he definitely parked the bus there in front of Justice towards the end. So that was awesome. But, it was definitely awesome. And like I said, man, I got to shout out Justice Murphy. That battle was amazing. And it truly is special when you have guys in a league that will race you clean like that, race you aggressive, and push you to your hardest limits. And I just have that respect for Justice Murphy, and I know that he has the same respect for me, so I definitely have to shout him out. I know it's a long list. Oh my gosh. Pat, you there?
No, I'm getting a little concerned myself.
Oh God, did it
Oh,
go?
there he
Yeah,
is.
sorry, I am having technical problems, but man, we made it look flawless until right there.
Right
But
there.
yeah, I was gonna say, but man, congratulations on your win here tonight, man. What an awesome job. Hopefully we see you and Justice Murphy work it out at Nashville, because I think two of y'all are probably gonna try to kill each other on that one.
Well,
Well,
nobody's
we'll see.
discussed Chicago Street, which is right after that.
gosh.
Isn't that another road?
Yeah, I know that's another road course that they decide to come up with, makeshift walls, other things like that. But no, let's not look forward. I made the mistake last year of asking if anybody can practice for Phoenix to try to beat Robert Rader. That's where he definitely starts sweeping people. But I was told no one practices early, so we're going to leave Chicago Street alone. The Mountain Man, Jeremy Burns, congratulations, man. We'll catch up with you in a couple of weeks.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
Oh, yeah.
And thank you
Oh,
for our
that's good.
viewers sticking here with us. I mean, we got Timmy Ray, Debbie Smith, Terry Earhart out there, and Farron is fast, by the way.
Oh yeah, I know that's for certain. There's nobody faster than Michael Farron. Definitely a iRacing world champion out there for narrowing down some of the fastest times. So I have to keep tabs on Mr. Michael Farron out there for the Dirt Series that he runs to see if he can narrow down any faster times with the new iRacing update. But Jacob Reeves, we're getting ready to check on out of here, man. Any final thoughts?
I mean, it's awesome to see some of these guys that have raced good. I mean, honestly, Stella was sitting here talking about Jeremy Burns and how excited that he was to be able to get the win tonight, and you'll see that a lot out of a lot of these guys. I mean, if they're not excited to be able to win, to be able to taste that victory, then in my opinion, they shouldn't even be doing it. But it's awesome to see, the enthusiasm and the excitement out of Jeremy Burns. Because me personally, and you guys, you've watched me race over in Doghouse a bunch. I mean, wins are so hard to come by. It doesn't matter where you get it. If it's a plate track, a short track, a road course, cookie cutter, whatever, wins are hard to come by. So it was just awesome to see Jeremy Burns show that enthusiasm and that excitement to be able to master Sonoma tonight. I mean, it was a great race to watch and a great battle between him and Justin Murphy. They put on they put on a great show.
Yeah, and that they did. And guys, speaking of a show, appreciate you joining us here at Simtrax. We'll be at Doghouse tomorrow. We'll hopefully see if Jacob Reeves can get a top position there in that series. It is definitely tough with that open setup. Jacob Reeves, good luck to you tomorrow. We'll see you down on the track. Douglas Ross will be in the booth with me tomorrow. And Stella, appreciate you joining me here tonight yet again. What a fantastic job you guys have been doing. But that's going to do it for us here tonight. Everybody, be well, be safe, be kind, and we'll catch all you guys next time.